Welcome to Your Mac Life for Wednesday, January the 10th, 2018. 2018. I said it right. I'm so surprised. This is Your Mac Life. I am one of your hosts, Shawn King. She is...
I'm Melissa King.
You said it! I'm so happy you said it. Aww. I didn't think you were going to. Yes, we're Mr. and Mrs. King. Coming to you from beautiful downtown Gibsons. That's a joke. On tonight's show, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. We're going to talk about CES and all the Apple news that's happened over the last month. We've been gone. This is the longest stint I've ever gone without doing a show, a month. And I loved it. I should do that more often. Only if we're going to Australia, though. We got back. We spent 21 beautiful days in Australia. Just missed the heat wave. We're so lucky. Speak into your microphone. Oh. There you go. There you go. Don't roll your eyes at me.
Yes, hottest place on earth, right?
Apparently, yes. Sydney, Australia, either yesterday or the day before, was literally the hottest place on earth with a suburb of Sydney, I think Penrith. 47.5 degrees, somewhere north of 117 degrees Fahrenheit. Dear sweet baby Jesus, that's hot.
That's hot.
I think the hottest we had when we were there was 40 on one day.
Was it one day? I thought it was 37. 40?
40, but because we were at the beach the whole day, it was mild. And then we got to the beach really early in the morning, left by about 10:30 when it started to get warm, and then just stayed indoors until 2 or 3 in the afternoon, which is the only way to do it, because us poor Canadians would have burst into flames in that kind of heat. It just was insane.
It was.
It was very funny because it's Southern Hemisphere. Their seasons are upside down, or ours are to them, whichever. So it was just starting summer there, right? The first day of summer.
December 21st.
Yeah, it was our first day of winter here in the Northern Hemisphere. So we were just there at the beginning of summer. Weather was lovely. We had a couple of lovely thunderstorms in the evenings. We didn't get a single day that was rained out.
No.
We met some wonderful people. You all know that, or not you all, but if you've been listening to the show over the past, in October, November, when we were talking about doing this trip, I was terrified of going because of A, the Christmas season, B, Melissa hasn't seen family in 18 years, C, we're going to have another wedding ceremony in Australia. Just all the stress of all that emotion and all that kind of stuff. I was just like, oh, this is going to be awful. Turned out, from the very first day I met them, the very first day I saw them, they were all wonderful, amazing people. Brad and Kath and Jack and Louie the dog, Jillian and her gorgeous family, the kids Koa and Nash and Zane and Lainey and Miley. I can never remember her husband's name.
Jake.
Matt? Mooch? Jake. I'm kidding. I knew it was Jake. Uncle Brad, Aunt Kath, Aunt Kate.
Uncle James.
I said that.
Did you say Uncle James? Please said Uncle Jack.
We met Sam and what was Sam's wife's name? I'm sorry, Linda. And they're gorgeous children, Tasman and Travis. The whole family is stunningly beautiful, just obscenely good looking. Everybody is. Uncle James is 71 years old and looks 45.
He does.
He rides a Suzuki 1000 sport bike, which I don't even have the testicles to ride. He's 71. And Sam in his little tight little shorts and little bathing suit where he could see that line that makes women go crazy. You know that line? That line down there?
The line?
The line? God damn it. It was like the giant troll in the family under the bridge. No. It was awful.
Oh.
I got it. But there is one good thing about me joining this family. I now have a new official nickname, The Ladder.
I didn't know that was official.
Because they're all a bunch of short asses.
Because we kept losing the Frisbee.
They lost a Frisbee in a tree. And no one was tall enough to get her on top of a shed. And I was the only one tall enough to get the damn thing. They're all like under 5'10". Tiny bunch of people. But it was amazing. The weather, the beaches, the food was good, cheap, relatively cheap. The beer was ridiculously expensive. Yeah. We'll talk more about that a little later on. What was that? Mr. Tetsu cheese custard pie cake thing?
Oh, the place in Sydney.
In Sydney? Oh, my God.
I don't know.
Want to send big thanks and big shout out to the folks at Cathay Pacific who were incredibly helpful to me on Twitter in getting better seats. Not great seats, but at least I had leg room. My Vancouver to Hong Kong flight and my Hong Kong to Sydney flight, both times, little tiny Asian woman sitting next to me. She did not need bulkhead seating. She would have been fine in the overhead. Okay? That's how small these two women were. Both of them I sit down next to them, and I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to make eye contact. I just sit down. Both of them get their blankets out, get their pillows out, put the little eye masks on, roll over, and close the window. You've got an eye mask on. Don't close the fucking window. So now I can't see shit. So the only view I had, the Cathay Pacific had a undercarriage camera. And a camera that was pointed at the nose of the plane. So that was my view out the window for 24 hours. It's a little annoying. But, and the staff at Cathay Pacific, there's a problem in Vancouver, but they were all very helpful and informative. Folks at Hotels.com, with a screw up on my part, their part, and some other idiot's part, fixed it for us. The folks at the Park Royal Hotel, when something went wrong, fixed it for us. Park Royal Hotel, Darling Harbour. If you're ever in Sydney and want a really nice, classy hotel to stay in, the Park Royal Hotel, Darling Harbour, was in easy walking distance of the touristy stuff at Darling Harbour. Lovely hotel, wonderful hotel. It was for those of you who stayed with us at Mackerel Expos at the Intercontinental, it was that style of hotel, that sort of executive businessman type, stylish, classy hotel. You could tell it was classy because they didn't have a pub. That's how you can always tell a classy place. And there was a problem the first night, and they did their best to fix it to our satisfaction. I think they did.
Well, they did.
They did what they could.
Yeah.
But everyone was very, very helpful. I think Sydney was less touristy than I expected it to be. I don't know what I was expecting, but certainly that area around the Opera House. And by the way, the Opera House is stunningly beautiful. I had no idea that the Sydney Opera House was that beautiful a building. First of all, I didn't realize it wasn't white. All the pictures I've ever seen, at least in my mind's eye, it's a pure white building, but it's not. The other thing I've never seen before in any pictures of the Opera House is that it's not like a big concrete shell. It's tiles. It's all beautiful tiling with a design on it, which I've never seen in any of the pictures. Sydney Harbour Bridge, it's a bridge.
Oh, it was pretty cool going under the bridge.
It was cool going under the bridge, but the bridge itself, it's not a Brooklyn Bridge. It's not a Golden Gate Bridge. It's not Lions Gate Bridge. You know what I mean? It was just a bridge. The advantage of those other places have, Brooklyn Bridge has those amazing columns that hold the bridge up. Lions Gate has the scenery. Golden Gate also has the scenery. So there wasn't much scenery around the Harbour Bridge to make it stand out more. It was a fairly boring looking
Well, the harbour
bridge.
is so vibrant.
The harbour is insane.
I think the bridge is gorgeous.
I've been in a lot of harbours in my life. I've never seen a harbour as busy as Sydney Harbour with all manner of watercraft. Not just shipping, not just ferries and tankers and all that kind of stuff, commercial shipping, but pleasure craft of every possible description. Everything from massive rich folks' yachts to guys in kayaks, and hundreds and hundreds. There was probably, I'd be willing to bet, if you took an aerial photo of the days we were there was probably several thousand boats.
Yeah, separate. Yeah.
On that water. In a fairly small area, too. It's not a gigantic wide harbor. It's long.
It's very deep. The
deepest natural harbor in the world. And we got to see that in a couple of ways. One on the hop-on cruise boat that we went on, and the other on the Thunderboat. A Thunderjet.
Yeah.
Thunderjet boat. That was so much fun.
It was a riot.
I wasn't expecting it to be that much fun.
It was great.
That was the single most fun thing we did in Sydney.
It was. What?
Shoot. Hang on, folks. Hang on.
And MacMan and DH are... Oh, yes. Hold on.
I almost forgot. I can't believe I forgot that.
You forgot it.
I know. It's so embarrassing. You guys were gone for longer than 15 days. Op status may not. Figure out how to make Evan do it automatically again. Thanks, Monty. If someone needs the command, the command for re-registering your Nick serve, that's the one.
And yeah, no. Oh, okay. Because people are asking did we climb the bridge?
Whew, that was close. Huh? You see this thing? You see this? I hate hats. I wore this hat the entire time we were in Sydney. It's a beautiful freaking hat. You can wear it like this. You can wear it like this. You can wear it like this. There's all kinds of ways to wear this hat. And no, it's not the Greg Gare hat. Greg has his own hat. This is my hat. It's not a Greg Gare hat. I love this hat. Thank you very much for getting. We got this down in Sydney Harbor, and it is a real kangaroo hat. It's a Barma. Is that how you say it? Barma?
I don't know.
Barmah. Barma.
Yeah. Don't forget the R.
Yeah, they don't use R's. There's no R's in the Australian alphabet. It's a squashy hat in a bag, kangaroo leather made in Australia. It's a squashy hat. It's okay to do this to your hat.
So Mo's asking a question that I often
Into the microphone, lady.
Mo's asking a question that I often wondered does it get hot in there? Actually,
no. I wore it all the time we were on the beach to protect my head. And it never I never felt like it was sweaty. I sweated, but it didn't feel like it was a sweaty hat that you wanted to take off. It's got good ventilation. So yeah, the Thunderjet ride was the most. We have no video of it because you could not possibly shoot video unless you attached a GoPro to your chest. There was no way you were going to be able to shoot video on that thing because you were holding on with a death grip the entire time. And even though we were only doing 40 knots, which is about 50 miles an hour at top speed, he would move the boat around and do 360s and 180s, and it was stupid fun. It was ridiculously fun.
You got soaked.
You got completely drenched. Yeah. Completely and utterly drenched. Luckily, it was a nice sunny day because otherwise you're going to walk around the rest of the day just soaking wet down to your underwear. But it was stupid amounts of fun. We'll talk more about that in the starting point for Dog 7. We've got a bunch of photos to show you guys. We'll talk more about our trip there. We'll talk more a little bit about the wedding, which is wonderful. For those folks who followed me on Twitter or on Instagram, you saw a lot of pictures of a place called Caves Beach, which is where we got married. We'll talk about that. But up next, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com about a whole bunch of stuff. All that and much more coming up. This is your Mac Life. Forgot about that. Right for you. You go there and hang out with Rory. Hey, Shawn, sorry I called you on FaceTime, Skype. I didn't do the thing. Okay, yeah. I'll get music coming up. Put you on speakerphone. Hang on a second. Well, crap. I can't do that because I'm using the iPhone. Okay. I didn't turn my microphone down. All right, let's just do this. Volume down, mics up. In our iPhone 10 room FaceTime thing. Jim Dalrymple in the Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just new to... It's like I'm brand new to all this stuff all over again. I hate these long breaks we take because they always mess me up. Jim?
Yes.
Are you doing dishes under the bridge?
No, I had to get a beer.
How could you... I've already gotten a beer.
I did. I drank it waiting for you, so now I had to get another one.
Fair enough. Did you have a good holiday season, a good New Year's, a good Christmas down there under the bridge?
It was okay. You know.
You get anything fun, interesting for the holidays?
I did not.
That's too bad. I got a trip to Australia.
Yes, I know. Nobody had as much fun as you did.
No. I got to touch a kangaroo and a koala bear and a quokka.
How was your trip?
It was fantastic. Although I can promise that you will never go to Australia.
Well, I don't know about that. My parents have been there a couple times and love it.
Yeah, but I'm saying you personally will never go to Australia.
Why?
Because beer costs 3 times what it does in North America.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, a 6-pack of beer is $22.
I'll just bring my own.
It's not enough. Your luggage wouldn't be big enough, dude. It's insane. It is utterly insane how expensive alcohol is in Australia. I was literally...
Why is that?
I have no government taxes. That's the only thing I can explain. But yeah, $22 for a 6-pack. A case was upwards of $45-$60 for 12 beer.
Well, that's just breakfast. What are you supposed to do the rest of the day?
Exactly. You go to a pub and a pint in a pub is $10-$12.
Oh my God!
I know. I can't live there. I couldn't live under those conditions. Just no way.
That's a bit extreme.
It really is. A lot of things have been going on in the past month with regards to Apple. One of the big things was this whole Apple slowing down the batteries on older iPhones. Reading this just intermittently while I was in Australia, I got the very real sense that this seems to be another one of those things that you and I have talked about it several times, of Apple just screwing up their communication. Do you think that's a primary issue with the way this went down?
Well, there's a couple of things here that I want to address. So when the stories of this first came out, people were accusing Apple of doing this to sell more iPhones.
Yes.
And I said, bullshit. That is not the reason that they're doing this. So then Apple came out and admitted, yes, they were slowing down phones. And then people were coming to me on Twitter and saying, see, I told you they were doing it.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what I said bullshit to. What I said bullshit to was they were doing it to upgrade people forcibly. And I still say bullshit to that. That's not why they're doing it. They're trying to save people's batteries. Now, did they not do it very well and communicate that? Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. They didn't do that well. But did they do it to forcibly upgrade people? No.
Yeah.
I still call bullshit on that. And, people didn't seem to understand, even though I was very clear, what I was calling bullshit on.
Yeah.
So, and, people that I talked to, friends that aren't in the tech industry said, oh, Apple got caught, forced people to upgrade. No, they didn't.
Yep.
So, but yeah, they didn't do a good job of communicating.
Yeah, the way it was portrayed in the media, even what I was seeing in local Australian media, made me think exactly that. It's like, yeah, this is Apple with their need for secrecy and privacy, not just coming straight out and saying up front what it took them a while to do. Even Apple points to documents that they posted last year saying this was happening. They do those kinds of things as little support documents that no one really pays attention to. This is the kind of example where Apple should be reaching out to the media and saying, hey, guys, this is happening. Instead of just putting it up on a support page that people don't necessarily look at all the time. This is where they should have been a lot more proactive and gotten their PR team and everyone else to go out there to you and the Grubers and the Ed Beggs of the world and saying, hey, folks, could you guys help us out with this story? We don't want this to show up the way it showed up, of the media portraying it as Apple is slowing down iPhones intentionally in order to make you buy new ones.
Well, see, and I think that's very irresponsible of the media.
Agreed.
To do that. And even the local news stations here, the TV stations, were doing that.
Yep.
Because that makes a better story, a better headline than, than what the truth is.
Now, that being said, there are 30 class action lawsuits so far, 8 in San Jose alone, that will be adjudicated over the next 6 months to a year. Do you think any of these have any merit to them, or will Apple be successful in all of them?
Well, I think that this isn't about somebody getting upset because they were forced to upgrade. This is just a cash grab.
Yep.
And I hate that kind of shit in America. Everybody can get a cash grab on something. As soon as a company does something wrong, there's class action lawsuits everywhere. Yep. And it's awful. It's awful.
I do believe that some of these lawsuits at some level will be successful, if only because it's an easy argument to be made that Apple didn't make it more obvious that these slower, older phones could have been fixed with a simple battery upgrade, as opposed to, it's Apple knowing we live in this throwaway culture, that people could have gotten the performance out of their older iPhones with a new battery, but we're so willing to get rid of old devices when they slow down even a little bit that some of the class action lawsuits will be successful on that fact alone, that Apple didn't make it more obvious. And it won't cost Apple much, and you'll only get, I'd be willing to bet that what will happen is Apple will be forced to refund the money of anybody who did get a battery upgrade at that time, or even everyone gets $5 out of Apple. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I don't think it's going to be a long lasting thing, except I hope it teaches Apple they've got to be more proactive when it comes to managing the media, something we've talked about for years.
Well, I'm sure that whatever comes out of it, they've learned somewhat of a lesson from this one.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I mean, I think what they were trying to do was commendable. They were trying to make people's phones stop shutting off because the battery was screwed.
Yep.
So they were trying to do a good thing, and they were doing it in the OS, and it sounded pretty technical, all the stuff that they were trying to do. And because they didn't communicate that, if they had come out and said, here's what we're going to do because people's batteries are shutting down, we're going to do this. But if you want the full power of your phone back, and your battery is gone, then you can upgrade the battery.
Yep.
Then, okay, I'll try your software fix for a bit and see if that works. If it doesn't, okay, well then I can upgrade or buy a new battery, whatever.
And as I explained it to relatives my new relatives in Australia, a lot of this is that they're not understanding the fact that the brand new operating system from Apple will even work on those older phones. You try that with a 6-month-old, a year-old, a 2-year-old Android device, and the latest operating system will not work on those devices. Apple does a commendable job of at least attempting to make these older iPhones work with the latest OSs. At some point, yes, they have to cut them off, but they still do a doggone good job. iOS 11 on my 6 Plus before I switched to the iPhone X felt the exact same. It wasn't slow for me. It felt like I was getting the full power of the latest operating system on a phone that was 2.5 years old.
Yeah.
I don't think Apple gets enough credit for making those efforts.
Yeah, this one is hard because, I mean, I defend the reasons that they did what they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would have been nice to know, more clearly what was happening. So,
speaking of the media and the way they represent things, this is something else I saw over the holidays, that in the Chicago store, they were having an issue with snow on the roof. A lot of folks were saying the roof of Apple's new flagship store in Chicago wasn't designed to account for snow. 9to5Mac and a lot of other websites said that Apple, whatever reason, didn't realize it snowed in Chicago. Even John Gruber fell into the trap of saying, seems like a glaring oversight. I wonder how they can address this. I think it's another example of the media not thinking about things before they write it, before they talk about it, before they do it. As soon as I saw the story of snow, Apple having to close off an area of the Chicago store because of the snow buildup, my first thought was, well, I'll bet something screwed up. I'll bet some sort of heating element has screwed up, because there's no way, when I read on iMore that Apple didn't realize it snowed in Chicago, that was even remotely possible.
Right.
And yet everyone jumped on Apple as if that were possible, again, including Gruber, thinking, oh, Apple didn't realize it snowed. Really? Do you people really think Apple is this dumb? And it turned out it was just a glitch in the heating system of the roof, and it was no big deal, and the issue was solved, and we haven't heard anything else about it. But it's another example of the media not thinking before they report the news.
Well, it happens a lot.
Sadly.
Now people want Apple to babysit their kids for them too.
That was the next thing. Two major shareholders, Apple shareholders, have pushed for a study of iPhone addiction. First of all, there's no such thing as iPhone addiction. It's not a recognized medical thing. You might love your iPhone, but you're not addicted to it. This is a shareholder push that may or may not come up at the next shareholder meeting for Apple in Cupertino. What do you think about this? Should Apple do more? Does Apple have any responsibility to make the iPhone less compelling, shall we say, to young minds?
All right. So here's my very strong view on this. When it comes right down to it, does Apple have any responsibility? None. Zero.
No.
Now, Apple puts out parental controls on the phone, and should they make those parental controls even better? Absolutely.
Yep.
No argument about that. It would be great to have it more granular, and allow parents to, stop certain apps, certain sites, certain whatever. Now, if Apple doesn't have any responsibility, where is the responsibility? With the goddamn parents.
Mm.
That's where the responsibility is. If your kid is addicted to the iPhone or the apps or the games or what, that's your fault. That's not Apple's fault. If you don't want your kid on an iPhone and they are, that's not Apple's fault. But Johnny Ive isn't going to come to your house and take the phone away. You need to do that.
As the new stepfather of a 12-year-old who is very involved in both his Xbox and his iPhone, I can see the parent's point of view more clearly now than I ever could. It's easy to say, if you don't want your kid on an iPhone, don't put him on an iPhone. But you do want them on the iPhone. You do want them to using it.
Hold on.
Yes,
it's exactly why I said
I know
that Apple they are putting out better parental controls because, yes, of course, in an age of technology, you want your kids to have accessibility to that technology. But if your kids have access to the technology whenever they want and you don't really seem to care until there's a problem, well, then that's a problem. I saw all kinds of tweets from people that said, if my kid reads for 30 minutes, they get 30 minutes of time on the iPhone.
Yep.
You know, if they do all of their chores, then they get some time on the iPhone.
Yep, that's what we do.
And then there are others that say, well, I want more control so that, you know, my kid can't do this at this time or whatever. Okay, but right now that's not available. I know you want that, but it's not available. So for the ones that just throw an iPhone at them and say, go play.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they're joining in the arguments. Yeah, Apple needs to look at iPhone addiction. No, you need to look at iPhone addiction because you're the one that gave them the phone or the iPad or whatever it is. I had no issue at all in taking technology, TV, games, iPhone, iPad, computer, whatever, away from my kids.
Yep.
No, it didn't bother me a bit.
Yep. Same here. So, you know, if parents are all of a sudden having an issue with that, I still say, and I said it in the article that I wrote, this is parenting, not Apple's problem. I completely agree with you on that. I mean, this story comes up every six to 8 months when something happens. I remember the one story in the New York Times where this woman was complaining that she couldn't take the iPad away from her 3-year-old because he cries too much. And I was like, are you kidding me? I don't want to have the argument with him. You don't have an argument with a 3-year-old.
No.
Like you said, you be a parent.
And, you don't have an argument with a 10-year-old or a 13-year-old or a 15-year-old either. You just take it away.
As Monty says, the phone, like the TV or the video game box, turns into a babysitter so the parents don't have to be bothered with them.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
But there are some examples where that's not as cut and dried as that. A perfect example is Rory, my new stepson, who doesn't have siblings, who here it's wintertime and it's raining and he can't go and play in the snow. He can't ride his skateboard. He's kind of, you know, imagine 3 weeks of rain days. You know, it's okay for a lot of folks to say, well, just put the kids outside. Well, when Jim and I were kids in Nova Scotia, going outside in the wintertime was great because you bundled up and you went and played in the snow. You built snowmen, you threw snowballs at police cars, and you had a blast. But it's a little harder for Rory with so few friends near him. And it's raining outside, so he can't do a whole lot outside. So the temptation certainly is to allow him to use the iPhone. The problem comes when you try to take that thing away from him. And if you start getting in an argument with the kid, and this is something Melissa and I have talked about, well, we don't argue with him. I said, we're not going to argue with him. We're going to do it, and you're not going to like it, but too bad. We're the parents. Yeah. And I think that's the attitude more parents need to have.
Well, but these days it's, you can't make the kid feel like they lost an argument or that you're taking something away from them.
Screw that.
Yeah. No, you actually, as a parent, you actually can make them feel like that.
Exactly.
You know what? We took this away from you because you got in trouble at school and, you know, you didn't do your homework and you failed a test. So now you don't have your game console for a week.
That's right.
And you're not going to be able to come to me tomorrow and say, can I play a game?
Yep.
No, what didn't you understand? You know, if you ask me again, you'll lose it for another week.
That's right.
Now, you know, I mean, I don't understand the problem that people have with the basic concept of parenting. No. I understand that things can be better. But until that happens, and until Apple, and there are apps out there that offer more granular control for parental content. If you're that worried about it, go download one of those apps.
Yep.
You know, I don't understand.
I would definitely like to see more granularity because one of the first things I did with Melissa, because she doesn't know about this stuff. She's not a techie. She's not a geek. She didn't know about the parental controls that were already on the iPhone, and I'd never really taken any kind of look at them because I wasn't a parent, so I didn't care. But when I started to look at them, I realized, ooh, these are awful sledgehammery. You know, they're all or nothing kind of thing. So it was good to hear that Apple responded with it by saying they're working on more granularity of being able to do more specific things at specific times with specific apps. That I'd very much like to see, especially with apps like YouTube. I mean, YouTube can be very dangerous for kids. There's all kinds of great apps about skateboarding that Rory likes to watch, but all it takes is one wrong click or one video linked to a skateboarding video that's inappropriate for him. It leads him down a deep, dark internet hole that is very worrisome for parents.
Well, and those are the videos that are on your phone. So
exactly. My phone is locked tight, dude. There ain't no way he's getting to my phone.
You know, I just I understand, and when people ping me on Twitter and said, you know, as a parent we need more granularity, I do not dispute that.
Yeah.
I agree with that, but that's not the group that I have an issue with.
Yes,
it's the group that wants to throw a phone at a kid and tell them to entertain themselves, and then not be responsible for any kind of parenting at all.
Exactly.
You know, no, you know, deal with it.
Monty says, for Jim, while he's here, thanks to his discussion about the Google Mesh Wi-Fi system, that's what we gave Brad's parents for Christmas. Setup and configuration really was as easy as Jim described it. Now their really oddly shaped house is covered and doesn't have Wi-Fi dead spots. Piece of cake. Good to hear, Monty. Thanks very much.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's always my concern with this kind of stuff is configuration. Now, Monty is a networking nerd, so what he thinks of as easy configuration may not be easy for other people.
No,
but it's certainly, I have heard from a lot of folks that it is fairly easy to do.
It is so easy. Yeah, I am not a networking nerd.
Yep.
And I mean, it basically said, plug this into the wall. Okay, we found it. Now we're going to hook it up to the one that you just configured.
Yep.
Okay, it's hooked up. Do you want to do another one? Plug it in. Okay, we found it. We're going to hook it into the network. Yes, it's done too.
Yep.
Yeah, that was it.
Really simple.
Really simple.
Good to hear. We're thinking about getting one for this place too, because we've got a long, skinny house that has dead spots in it that we'd like to get rid of. So it's good to know that there are easy to use systems out there. Speaking of easy to use, CES is this week. Jim is not covering CES. I am not covering CES. Dave Mark on the loop is not covering CES. Why are we not covering CES, Jim?
Because it's stupid. And, you know, they had a power outage at CES.
Yeah, they did.
Did you hear that? Yeah. For like 3 hours.
Yeah, and they had flooding last week, and it's been an awful show.
Yeah.
CES is a giant waste of time.
It's I think you said it before where it's just vaporware, you know, and I just don't have time for that stuff. I mean, are there some cool things? I think that Dave did report something today where Whirlpool, you'll be able to do your Whirlpool fridge from your phone, or
which is from your Apple Watch to be controlled. Whirlpool Apple Watch to be able to control Whirlpool appliances this year, which just made me laugh out loud because that's just, I'm sure Apple's going, yeah, are you kidding me? Can't you think of something better to do?
Unless Whirlpool will deliver me a Heineken in my chair without me getting up, then it doesn't do me any good.
Well, I mean, and I understand reading the stories, some of the use cases, but for the most part, we walk up to our washer and dryer, we put the clothes in, we push the button, we walk away. There is no point where you put the clothes in, walk away, and then think, oh, I should push the button. I want to use my Apple Watch to do that. It just doesn't happen. It's just it's another example of technology in search of a solution instead of an actual solution itself. It's just silly. The other thing about CES that drives me nuts is the way the media portrays it. Having covered 3 or 4 CESs on my own and seen this stuff, the way most of the tech media, the CNETs and the Verges and Engadgets and those kind of guys cover this stuff with this breathlessness of it, that everything is fantastic and everything is amazing and everything's cool without ever looking at these things and going, this is vaporware. This is not. CNET has a story, the 53 coolest new gadgets at CES in 2018. And except for 2 of them, 51 of them say something along the lines of pricing and availability not announced. If the pricing and availability is not announced, there's even one product that CNET is pimping that doesn't have a name, and yet they wrote a story about it. If pricing and availability are not available, it's not a real product. Don't write about it as if it were.
Well, then there would be nothing to write about at CES.
Exactly. CES is this self-perpetuating myth that the technology media props up in order to be able to go to CES and get a free hotel stay for a week and to be able to drink on Company B's dime and to see all your friends and all this kind of cool stuff. But none of these products, very, very few of these products, are actually ever going to make it to market. But the media always portrays it as if it's around the next corner.
Well, and, the idea of that technology may be around the corner in a year or 2 or 3, but that actual product, probably not.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and some of the stuff is ridiculous. There's a Toto floating tub. Toto's marble-covered bathtub has lots of integrated tech. Lots of integrated tech. It's a fucking bathtub.
Yeah.
What more tech do you need than hot and cold water and a stopper? That's it.
That's it. I mean, you could even do without the stopper if you had to.
If your water flow is fast enough, you can do without the stopper. Exactly. Yeah, it's another one that pricing and availability is not available. It's not a real product then.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it just drives me nuts to and as much as I block out CES on my Twitter feed as much as I can on my RSS feed, there's still a lot of stuff gets retweeted and that kind of stuff. And everything I check out, like I said, out of 53 products that they picked as cool new gadgets at CES, 51 of them have pricing and availability not yet announced, which to me mean when I covered CES, I always hid my media badge because if you're media at CES, these people just glom on you like a moron to a shark because they want you to talk about their product. I'd hide my media badge. If I saw something cool, I'd walk up to them. I talked to them about the product like I was a regular everyday customer. And I always asked them, what's the price? When's it available? If they said pricing and availability is not yet determined, I'd say thank you and I'd walk away. I would never write about or talk about a gadget that wasn't available for people to buy right away.
It's awful.
It's a complete waste of time. And that's one of the reasons why I loved Macworld Expo so much, because that was the exact opposite of Macworld Expo. When someone said pricing and availability wasn't announced yet at Macworld Expo, you were surprised because the vast majority of stuff at Expo you could buy right then and there. It was available that day, either from their booth or from their website or downloadable or whatever it might be. So to see this vaporware stuff at CES and see the media year after year after year keep pimping these things, because what happens is the media just acts as the marketing arm for these companies. Half the products on CNET's new gadgets aren't even Kickstarters yet. They're saying we're going to start our Kickstarter next month or next in the summer. They're not even Kickstarter projects.
Yep.
And by talking about them, all CNET is doing is marketing for them.
Oh yeah.
They're just being they're just being stenographers and not reporters, and I frickin' hate that kind of stuff.
Well, it's the way CES has always been.
It is.
And always will be.
On the fourth day of 2018, you reported a story from Billboard, Jimmy Iovine to leave Apple Music in August. What did you think when you first heard that?
Sounds reasonable.
Why?
Because Jimmy's not doing as much as what he once did.
Yeah.
So, he's got his money and he can leave and do something else.
He certainly, he ain't in it for the dough. That's for sure. I mean, he's been there for a while. I think it's 3 or 4 years now, and he certainly
3 years. I think
3 years. It certainly would be understandable if he decided he wanted to either go back to the music industry or just retire straight up or do whatever he wanted to do.
He won't retire.
You don't think?
No.
He's in it for the long haul?
No, he's in it for the long haul.
It came out yesterday. He spoke to Variety and shot down the rumors that he was leaving Apple. But yesterday was the 9th. It took him 5 days to refute this rumor. Does that sound odd to you?
Maybe he was sleeping.
It's a possibility, but let's look for a different reason.
Okay. Yeah. When you texted me about this last night, my one response was took him long enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know,
I think this is another example of Apple's secrecy. It's the same thing with the battery. It's the same thing with a lot of things they do. Is that I bet you $1 million if Iovine was on his own at the head of his own company, and that same Billboard rumor came out 10 seconds later, he'd go, "No, that's not true. It's bullshit." But because he's at Apple, there are channels he has to go through. He can't just go directly to the media variety of Billboard and say that's bullshit. He has to go through whoever at Apple. The marketing company the marketing arm has to get involved. PR has to get involved. Everyone's got to get involved to give him the right way to say this stuff. And maybe that took 5 days.
You never know.
I just think it's just another data point in my example that Apple is not nearly as open as they should be on simple things. This was a simple little thing that Apple should be able to handle inside of 10 seconds. That the rumor comes out, someone at Apple PR goes to Jimmy, "Hey, Jimmy, are you leaving?" And Jimmy says no. Apple PR sends a press release out saying done, and a minute later it's forgotten.
Well, honestly, I think a minute later it was forgotten anyway.
Yeah,
until
true.
Jimmy came out and said it wasn't.
That's true. I think
and then we all said, "Oh, wow, that's right."
I think it would be a shame if he left. We don't know the full impact of Iovine at Apple, but I do believe that his background in the industry helps Apple a lot.
Of course,
his ability to be a producer, to know music, not just as an executive, but as an actual musician, is undeniably a big deal at Apple. And while Apple will survive him leaving, I think it's good that they stayed.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I don't think he's going to go to Spotify or anything like that, but he'll do something when he does leave. He'll do something else.
Do you think the Shazam purchase is going to make any difference to Apple?
A difference how? How do you mean?
Well, I can't ever see it Apple present Shazam. I can't see it that way. To me, it feels like this is a technology buy or a engineer buy. They bought the people as opposed to the product. You know what I mean?
Just like they did with Beats.
Yeah. I think you will see Siri integrated. Shazam integrated into Siri. I think we'll see those kind of things as opposed to this is a new product. Unlike Beats, which is a standalone brand, I think we'll see Shazam quietly disappear over the next year. Yeah.
And it was a technology buy, in my opinion, and and Apple will put it in there. I mean, it's not like Apple needs the ad revenue or anything from it, so it's not about that. But there's more to Shazam than just music too.
Yes.
So Apple could integrate it into Apple TV and all kinds of different things. Could you ask Shazam, a quote from a movie, like, "Go ahead, punk, make my day."
Yeah.
And then you say that and Shazam brings up the movie that it was from. Yeah. And here are other Clint Eastwood movies that you might like. I mean, can you do stuff like that? Who knows?
Folks, we're talking to Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. He's here each and every week, except for when I'm in Australia. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Shawn.
Talk to you later, buddy.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks very much for Jim for being on the show this week after just a long layoff. Monty says, was talking about, was it so far the dumbest thing I've heard out of CES is that Kodak, yes, the film company, announced a device you can lease from them to mine Bitcoin. It gets even dumber, Monty. Not only are you leasing the device from Kodak to mine Bitcoin, but Kodak gets half the revenue from that leasing of the device. Just bizarre and weird and stupid. Your mic turned on? There you go. You're on. She's on. We turned her on. Hey, lady.
Hey.
We were talking with Jim about parental controls on the iPhone. One of the things I said was that you not being a nerd, you didn't know what kind of parental controls were available on the iPhone to manage Rory's use of the iPhone and the iPad. Would you use that kind of stuff? Or are you happy as the parent of a 12-year-old just saying, stop playing now, I'm taking away from you? What do you think about parental controls? Whose responsibility is it to control a kid's use of technology? The person who makes the technology or the parent?
The parent.
There's an argument to be made, though, that the people creating it should do a better job of protecting children. So, for example, we have warnings on booze labels. Drink responsibly. We, dangerous goods have got childproof locks on them.
Mm-hmm.
We don't tell parents, buy this Tylenol with this easy open cap and put it next to your children, and then you manage that. We help the parents by putting childproof caps on things.
Mm-hmm.
We help parents by, we build these cars, but we put seatbelts in them. And then we mandate that children be put into car seats. So there is an argument to be made that the manufacturer is responsible to a certain degree in at least assisting parents. Do you agree with me on that?
I think that they'll be driven to do that if there starts to be proof that children are becoming addicted to these things and that it's affecting them in an adverse way.
Well, you are nominally a medical professional. There's no such thing as addiction. iPhones is a recognized malady, is there?
No, not yet.
Do you think there ever would be? Do you think iPhone addiction is possible?
I think game addiction is.
Game addiction, yeah.
So isn't that the same thing?
No, because I think it depends what you do with the iPhone.
Well, I thought you meant, no, like gaming on your iPhone, not, messaging friends and Instagram and things like that.
But I think the issue is the iPhone, the constant iPhone use by children, whether they're doing gaming or Instagram or Facebook or whatever it might be. And one of the problems that a lot of folks have, and we mentioned it briefly, until we didn't mention it, but one of the things that I saw with you was that you weren't using it as a babysitter of Rory, but it certainly takes some stress off of you as a single parent to not have to constantly entertain the kid when you give him this device. And now I can go make dinner. And now I can go do the laundry. And now I can do this kind of stuff. It's not a knock on parents who use the iPhone not as a babysitter so much, but say as a companion, if I can split that hair, if you know what I mean.
Well, all I can say to that is it creeps up on you and you have to be conscious of it all the time. That's what I suggest.
Yeah.
MacMan's saying it is a real addiction.
Officially
I don't know if
recognized
it's a diagnostic thing yet. Is it?
Yeah, sorry, MacMan. When we say official, Melissa, being an occupational therapist, you go. What's the DSM thing you mentioned before?
Well, the DSM-5 now is
what's DSM?
It's a diagnostic manual.
What does DSM stand for?
So the diagnostic something. I don't know what the S is yet, but anyway, it's a manual that any doctor or any psychiatrist would go to officially make a diagnosis because there's criteria that you have to meet.
That's the key, is the criteria. We can't just call it an addiction because we see someone using it a lot.
No, they have to.
Because when you call something an addiction, then it brings in a whole other set of medical procedures and solutions and things as opposed to, he plays games a lot. Well,
and then a manufacturer would be driven to put it on there.
Yeah.
This puts the child at risk for.
Monty comes through the Diagnostics and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders.
Yeah.
But I think, and it's interesting, with Melissa and I trying to moderate our approaches to this, because for me, for those of you who have listened to the show for years, my mom was a real hard ass. I didn't have these kind of devices when I was a kid, but I'm sure I know how my mom would have reacted to a lot of this stuff. So my initial inclination is to also be a hard ass. Melissa's isn't. Your mom wouldn't have been a hard ass with this stuff. So you have a much more, I think holistic is the wrong way, but a gentler way of looking at this kind of stuff than I do.
Mm.
And I think with you and I working together, we've been able to moderate both our positions. You're getting a little more firm, and I'm being a little softer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You won't let me hit him, so I got to figure out some other things.
I asked you to hit him last night.
You
but you
did. I'm teasing.
Mm.
We don't hit him. But I think it's a good thing. I think
it's wonderful.
I think the communication between the two of us, so that we both are on the same page when we approach him about this, I think is important.
Yeah, yeah.
So that he knows that both quote unquote parents
are on board. Like I
board.
see a change in him. I actually think he likes it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if this is true. I've heard it, but I've always heard that the kids, even if they fight against it, want rules.
They want them.
They want the direction.
They do.
They want to know what's right.
Boundaries.
They want the boundaries. They'll still test the boundaries, but they still want the boundaries
because it's comforting in a way.
Interesting. In our starting point photography segment, we went to Australia. I don't know if you know this, but Melissa and I went to Australia. We started off. We live here on the. Let me put this up on the full screen for you guys, and we'll talk over the video. There we go. That's Melissa and her handsome brother Brad. This was the cutest little kids in the world, Koa. This was the first time I had met these people, but also the first time you'd met a lot of these people too. Anyone who was under the age of 18, it was your first time meeting them. And even then, the last time you saw Jillian was 18 years ago. She was a child. She was a 16, 17-year-old girl.
Yeah.
She now she's the mother of 5. Oh, she came to Canada before?
She came to Canada, so I'd seen her.
The first day we went out for a walk with Brad on the jetty. Had a wonderful time just walking and talking to him. And you and Brad had a wonderful little moment there. When you realized you
love
were
my
home.
brother.
The boys had a good time. That's Jasper on the left and Rory on the right. Jasper has more energy than a nuclear reactor. The kid was exhausted.
Although he has like narcolepsy. He falls asleep at the drop. It's really weird.
Exactly. This was a very funny sign. A white lady's funeral would just confuse the hell out of me. And someone explained to me that's just the outfit that they wore.
Or a more nurture. It's all women, and it's a more nurturing kind of a female approach to death.
I went to go see the holiday lights out in a place called the Hunter Valley. Your sister-in-law lives in a beautiful neighborhood. What was the neighborhood called?
Well, that's just out at Greeny Point in Belmont. Yep.
It was really interesting to see all the different kinds of geography at the beaches. There was these pictures were all on the same beach. So one area of the beach will have this beautiful sand, this talcum powder sand, but the other will have and just half a kilometer away, we have these wonderful rock formations and rock pools that we could explore and climb over. And this is a caves beach. These cool caves that you can wander around, and sometimes you saw
that's
both.
Fraser Park.
You saw both sand and beaches. That's Caves Beach again. And at low tide, you could walk along these rocks. That's the disgustingly handsome Uncle James. This guy's 71 years old. He rides a motorcycle better and faster than me.
Yes.
That's Uncle
Auntie Kate.
Auntie Kate, who's a sweetheart. That's a gorgeous Australian girl. The place is filthy with them. There's all kinds of gorgeous Australian redheads all over the place. There's this sweet little Koa again. So Jillian had 5 gorgeous kids. Zane, Lainey, Miley. Lainey and Miley are twins. This one, Koa, and the little Tasmanian devil, Nash. We had so much fun hanging out with the kids and just playing with the kids. This was also, I think, the first or second day. There's Nash. But the family was so wonderful. They were so open, and there was no sense of, who's this guy kind of thing towards me. Everyone, I jumped into every conversation. They invited me. They gave me food. They gave me beer. They asked about me. What do you do? How tall are you? That got asked a lot. I was the jolly green giant of Australia. The whole country is tiny. They're all. Is there anyone over? Does Australia even have a basketball team? You don't really have one. Then the first weekend we went into Sydney. Took the train to Sydney. Stayed at the wonderful Park Royal Darling Harbour in Sydney. Again, as I said at the top of the show, if you get a chance to go to that hotel. It was inexpensive, comparative for downtown places. The next morning we got up, went to the aquarium. The Sea Life Aquarium in Darling Harbor was surprisingly good.
It was great.
I was expecting this little rinky-dink, little rundown, cheesy, touristy aquarium. But this was we spent
we were there for hours for most of a day.
We went on a little boat first thing in the morning to to feed the sharks in a glass-bottom boat. And it was a lot of fun.
It was
great. The
great.
Australian girl gave us a really good little description of this. I seen, I thought was a little inappropriate. Sydney Fish Market at the aquarium. I was like, if you're a bad fish, this is where you're going. We'll take you to the fish market. But they had wonderful displays. They had some. They had one of those cool. How do you describe it? Tunnels through the aquarium, so you could look underneath the fish, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
They had interesting displays of animals you don't often see. This is a lungfish that I saw at the aquarium, which looks like a giant eel, but it's not. It's a fish that has lungs.
Yeah.
So it's an evolutionary fish, which I don't think I've ever seen in an aquarium before. Another kind of fish that's got gills on the outside, and so they were showing this evolutionary track of these fish. You saw a platypus, and you had to wait for it.
Yes.
Was that the first time you ever saw a platypus?
Actually, it was. Yeah.
I didn't realize they were that rare.
Well, because they're so shy.
Yeah, I didn't know.
So, you know, you're not going to see them in the wild.
The platypus that we saw, we probably had to wait for 10, 15 minutes before he came over.
Yeah, and it was so small.
Yeah, a little tiny thing.
It's just tiny.
It was a little bigger than a kitten.
Yeah.
I was, for some reason, I always thought platypuses were the size of small dogs.
Well, I didn't think they were that big, but I was surprised how small.
Yeah, very tiny.
It was.
The aquarium had a couple of rays. They had sawfish. They had tangs. They had all the kind of tropical fish that you would expect. In just a really wonderful display.
Yeah, it was wonderful. You walked amongst them. It was like they were all around you. And
it was a whole variety of them, too. And there were sharks there, and rays, and groupers, and like I said, I was very, very impressed by that, because I was fully expecting it to be just the cheesiest little awful little place. And I was working out in my head how to explain to the boys why this was such an awful aquarium. You know, why there was algae on the windows, and why there were dead fish in there, and why it was so small. You know, I wasn't thinking that it was going to be a large place at all, but it was. They
take pride in it. It's obvious.
I think we said at least 4 or 5 hours, and we could have spent more time in there too.
Oh yeah,
we absolutely could have spent more time just taking pictures. I had a lot of fun taking pictures of the all kinds of fishies. MacMan says the platypus proves that God has a sense of humor.
It's true.
I got to see penguins.
Yes, you did.
We got to go around to a little penguin exhibit, and I couldn't touch the penguins, but we got to see penguins, and that was a lot of fun. There was a couple of show-off penguins. The pictures aren't great on the penguins because the glass was a little scoured up. So I think that's my best shot of the emperor penguin. Was that one? That's the before or the after and before, as the case may be. But it was and then we got to see them. We got to go.
That's right. They were swimming
at eye level and get to see them swimming around, which is
so fast.
They're really fast.
Yeah.
People don't realize how elegant and fast penguins are under the water. I got very few good shots of the penguin because they were so fast underwater. So if you get a chance, there's all, if you're ever in Sydney, there's all kinds of deals on Groupon, and everyone offers 2-for-1s and that kind of stuff. So don't pay full price, but you can get a really good deal on hop on bus and cruise and 2 or 3 exhibits in both the aquarium and the zoo. I think it's also no. Is it called the Wildlife Zoo?
The Wildlife Zoo.
They're both in the exact same spot.
Yeah, they're right there together underground.
Me and the penguins. Right there in Darling Harbor. We then hopped on a boat and went to go see the Sydney Opera House, and that was just spectacular. I don't know why. I've known about it, but I never really thought it was all that big a deal until you see it. Then you realize just how gorgeous a building it is. There's more pictures of the Opera House coming up. MacMan says, did you take the D610 with you after all? And MacMan's a Nikon D600. And no, I didn't. I went with the Olympus M1. It turns out there's a new tradition in Australia of getting dressed up for Christmas.
I know, like Halloween costumes.
So we saw a guy outside, and I asked him to take a picture. That was our first beer my first Australian pint beer. And Melissa convinced me that the traditional Friday night meal in Australia is KFC. I don't believe her. The next day we went to the zoo, which is in the exact same place as the aquarium, and got to pet koala bears. Sorry, got to pet kangaroos. Got to feed kangaroos. The boys got to feed kangaroos.
And Shawn touched the koala.
Don't ruin the story. I was waiting for a koala to show up. And then we went and had breakfast with the koalas, which was kind of cool. They had probably 10 or 15 koalas on trees around us. And they fed the koalas. And we got to take pictures near the koalas. But we weren't allowed to touch them. But when people weren't looking, I reached out and I touched the koala bear. Because I had to. I absolutely had to touch the koala bear. I did touch him on his back, just for a little squishy on his back. No one saw me. But they were so freaking cute.
I know.
You have no idea how cute a koala bear is until you see one.
Well, and there was a baby.
And that, but just even 10 times cute was the baby. But just that one just hanging out in the tree, like he got stuck in there and just didn't care. You know? It's like, oh god,
they get kind of high on the leaves.
That's why they love the leaves so much. And you also don't realize, because they're so cute, you don't think about it. But in these pictures and other pictures you see of koala bears, look at their claws. Yeah. They've got like grizzly bear kind of claws. They can rip your face off.
Yeah.
If they didn't like what you were doing. So don't ever try to take a koala bear out of his tree. Because he will deface you. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, the mosquito, they have climbing claws.
Yeah.
Now, these are much more than just climbing claws. These are destructor claws. These are really, really nasty
there
claws.
They are. You can see them there.
They are not bears. No, they are, as Melissa constantly corrected me, they're koalas, not koala bears. They're part of the raccoon family, actually. And there's the wombat.
I know, my favorite.
I've never seen a wombat before, and the wombat was so cute.
So cute. And huge.
Giant.
Huge.
Wombats are massive. That thing was probably about 100 kilograms.
He was.
And 4 feet long, and just this huge tub of goo. That's a kookaburra, which made what sound?
They laugh.
They do actually have a laugh.
They do laugh.
What are you looking at there? Snakes? No. Oh, this was a snake. I just love the green in the shot. There was all kinds of wonderful greens in here. This is you guys were looking at the echidna, the spiny anteater.
Yep.
And some cool lizards in the exhibit.
Then some frilled-necked ones.
I couldn't get a very good shot of the frilled-neck ones.
Well, not with their neck, with their neck collar popped open.
And then we met Rocky, and Rocky is a 3.5 meter long, 35-year-old crocodile who was put in the aquarium because he was chasing windsurfers, which is just that's a terrifying thought.
I know.
Chase you on your windsurfer.
That really is why they got him, because he was doing that. Mm-hmm.
So Melissa, Jasper, Rory, and Wally, the wombat. Some really cool Aboriginals doing didgeridoo stuff. It was an Aboriginal gallery there with the most amazing 3D art.
Wasn't it beautiful?
Just mind-boggling.
Gorgeous.
What was your fascination with opals?
Well, opals, what's my fascination with them? Yeah. Well, they're just from Australia.
Oh, okay.
I'm not particularly fussed on them. They're just, Rory wanted to see them.
We had a lovely lunch where a seagull stole Rory's croissant. There's the Sydney Harbour Bridge behind us, the ferries going off. Melissa's constant salute of holding onto her hat.
That sun.
Almost every picture. No. Well, the sun, it was you holding onto your hat. Because you're holding the top of it. You didn't want it to blow away.
No.
But there's a little bit of an example of the tiles of the opera house. And this is my lovely wife doing what I taught her, get a different angle. That's really cool. That's a really neat idea.
That. Yeah, it is.
You did a great thing. You laid down to get a better angle. Was that the shot you took of me?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good shot. That's the kind of thing where there's been 8 billion shots of this thing. So look for different ways of shooting. Yeah. So you lying down on your back and shooting up was a really good example of that.
Always, yeah, look at it.
But yeah, you can sort of see the tiling on it. Here's me getting photobombed by my wife. But you can see that it's not brown, that it's a lot of tile on there, which is really gorgeous. It's really, really pretty tiling on it. The mandatory selfies with the opera house and the bridge in the background.
It's just got to be done.
But say there's another shot of the tiles that you don't see.
And reflection. You can see a reflection.
You don't usually see those kinds of the tiling on the operas. Monty says you should totally use that shot of Melissa lying down in your class. Oh, definitely will. My selfie. Wandering, roving bands of Santa Clauses along the... I'm not sure what the hell that was going on there.
I know.
I love this shot because the boys in the background out of focus and you smiling at me in focus. The typical buskers all over
Circular Quay.
Some really neat architecture down there, too. Some really interesting looking buildings in Sydney Harbor. Us being goofy in the hotel elevator, a glass ceiling, so I took a shot of us all staring up at it. Even the McDonald's in Sydney were pretty. This is the McDonald's. We didn't go in, but it was a cool building. Chilling in the hotel room. There's this odd triangular building in our view. I kept trying to get shots of it, and that's one of the... We took the hop-on bus to wander around Sydney, which I highly recommend anyone who wants to get around any city that's got the hop-on bus thing. It's kind of a neat way to get around. This was the best meal we had.
Best ever.
Do you remember the name of this place?
I thought you took a picture of the menu or something.
I did. We'll have to find it.
It's fantastic.
But yeah, it was literally the best food. A lovely little Roman Italian woman, I think runs the place. But it was definitely a really cool place. First shot, my new hat.
Oh yeah.
Massive cruise ship in the harbor. This cruise ship had its own observation deck. This guy was rocking this hat. He was dead serious about it. He was the funny as hell. He was rocking that hat. He loved that hat. Dead serious about it. On the train, there was this one station called Woi Woi, which just cracked me up. Australia has a lot of weird words. Words. I wasn't allowed to buy the urban garlic kangaroo steak. I really wanted to try kangaroo, but I wasn't allowed. This is probably at Caves Beach in the water. This is me taking my iPhone 10 into the water. I like this shot of Jasper in the dark.
Yeah.
Playing on the iPad. Which beach was this?
That's when we went into Newcastle on the searingly hot day.
Oh, God, yeah. Again, a wonderful example of the geography of these beaches, where some of them are rocky with really cool tidal pools.
That was in Newcastle.
But right next to those places are these wonderful beaches to dip your toes in the sand, and rock pools deep enough you could actually jump in and swim in,
and ocean pools, ocean baths.
Ocean pools, yeah. What beach was this?
That was in Newcastle that day. Yes, right in town. Newcastle.
Brad on his iPhone. So your nephew Jack.
My nephew Jack.
Who had just gotten back from India.
Big long trip. Yep.
I think it was the boys discussing the shark they saw. They didn't actually see a shark. It was one of the caves beach in the background. I love that shot because of the cave in the background. Melissa doing yoga on the beach.
That was nice. We should have gone down more at sunsets.
Yeah. Why didn't we? I think most of the time we were just
exhausted. Yes.
What's this called?
A frangipani.
Frangipani. The wildlife and the flora and fauna is just amazing. It was like walking in a zoo. I mean, there were cockatoos, wild cockatoos, 15 at a time, just flying all over the place. Noisy as hell.
4 in the morning.
There's an example of Jasper throwing himself at the waves and Rory going, "Nope, I'm standing right here."
That's
and you had a nasty habit of picking stuff up and sticking your fingers into holes and stuff.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Lovely moment with mother and son. I like that picture. Jasper, one of the few times he's not making a goofy face. Good looking kid. And that's the after. Before I get to put these in the right order. A selfie at the beach with my hat. Love my hat. Love that. Now these are 2 surfer shots that make me look like a surfer. I am a surfer. Trust me, I am not a surfer. That's made me look good.
I'm so glad I got those.
Melissa's friend Carrie gave us a tour of her radio station. She works in marketing there. This is the very handsome 15-year-old Zane. He's going to be a lady killer.
So gorgeous.
He's going to be a lady killer. Cousin Jillian.
Yes, his beautiful mother.
His mother, yeah. And Rory contemplating the sea. There's this whole community of black swans about a mile away from where we were staying. Went to the Apple store in Newcastle, mandatory, although Melissa really didn't understand why we were there. Isn't this the same as the one in Vancouver? Yes, it is. It looks the exact same. Yes, it is.
Why are we going here? Why are we here?
Because I have to go. I'm sorry. I just have to go to Apple store. Yeah, see, Monty, you must go. It's a law. And boys chilling on the couch. Thanks very much to my new brother-in-law, Brad, for letting us use his house.
Yes.
There was this is Black Butt Reserve.
Black Butt Reserve.
With these gorgeous there's the size of a wombat.
Yeah, that's good perspective.
That's a good perspective of how big a wombat is.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Butt Reserve was one of those open air kind of zoos, all kinds of gorgeous animals. This is a black cockatoo. I didn't even know there was such a thing as a black cockatoo.
Mm-hmm. Rare.
And there was probably 10 peacocks wandering around the grounds here, just showing off. As peacocks will do.
Disgustingly so.
You're really, really pretty animal. I love this picture. Like, psst, behind you. Look behind you.
He was just strutting around.
Saw pelicans. Didn't see them fishing. Saw a couple flying.
Yeah.
And saw this group on the
Lake Macquarie.
Lake Macquarie, which is the largest saltwater lake in the Southern Hemisphere.
Yes.
The boys following their cousin Zane out into the water. It's Lainey and or Miley and little Nash. I can never tell which one's which. Disgustingly good-looking Jake. See, the whole family is just stunningly. Look at this. Look at this. Another hot chick. They're all over the place in this country. Lainey, Miley, Lainey. I don't know.
That's Miley, I think.
Is it Miley? The wave action was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good.
There were some good waves there.
We didn't have a really, really great day of surf while we were there. No.
True. But I think it was good, too, because it enables us to have fun in the surf.
It did.
Without having to worry about the surf.
It would have been good to sit and watch the surfers, though. You'd go with Brad and watch him surf for half a day.
That wave is probably about 3 or 4 feet high, just for perspective.
Mm.
You had fun on the bodyboard.
It was just I had a blast on the bodyboard.
She traded off with one of the twins. I think it's one of my favorite, if not my favorite shot of the girls.
Yeah, that's Miley.
That's
Here they are.
Monty. Okay, Jake is hot. Sorry.
He really is.
And here it is, the wedding day. That's Uncle James behind us. The beautiful bride and her brother. Married in the bluffs overlooking Caves Beach. That's my best man, me, and Uncle James, who was the officiant. The handoff from the brother-in-law to the new husband. The vows. She had a wonderful dress. You guys would not believe how beautiful her dress was. There's the whole family.
Uncle James took it very seriously.
He did. He really did. That's when he told everyone that I love Melissa like a fat kid loves cake.
He couldn't wait to say that line.
Stole my line.
He stole it.
Old bastard. This is Brad and brother Brad and nephew Jack.
His son. It's a beautiful Sam.
Again, disgustingly handsome Sam. Melissa and Jake. Jillian in the background. One of the twins. This was Miley, right? Who did her own makeup?
No, Lainey did her own makeup.
So cute. Paint me like one of your French whores. This is one of your cousins I only met briefly.
Oh, that's my second cousin. My mom's cousin, Rosalie. Yeah.
I gotta edit this shot, get rid of the fat rolls. That's better. And one of your cousins made a beautiful boutonniere for me, handmade out of shells. It was gorgeous.
She made the crown and the cake as well.
I did the cake.
You can see the beautiful Caves Beach all down there.
That's Linda, Koa, and Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Jillian and Linda. That's Tasman and Jack. And Zane and Mom, Jillian. It's Nash and his dad,
daddy Jake. Yeah.
Melissa and Brad. Again, we're on the bluff overlooking Cays Beach, probably, what, 100 feet high? 100
Oh,
feet up?
much. I think much more than that. Hundreds of feet high. Yeah.
Auntie Kate. But it was a beautiful spot. That was our favorite beach.
Mm-hmm.
That beach down there behind us was our favorite beach. And when Uncle James took us driving around to see where we wanted to have the actual ceremony, when he took us to this spot, we were like, yeah, this is going to be the place. This
yeah. Without a doubt.
Definitely going to be the spot where we want to get married above our favorite beach.
So many great photographs.
Well, I am a professional, you know.
You are.
The beautiful bride. This gorgeous cake that
Alicia did that. Look at that.
Very cute.
She looks very introspective there.
Macman, did you bring any shells home? I was bummed that the beach at the resort where I stayed in Mexico was man-made, so there weren't any shells. There were all kinds of shells. Did you take many home?
Well, I was a bit worried about getting... They're starting to take shells away, I think. We brought rocks home.
I think there's a concern with bringing anything organic out of Australia or into Australia.
Especially into.
Yeah, exactly. One day we had, what beach was Pelican Bay?
It was at Pelican on the lake. Yeah,
we had fun diving in the ocean again. Hot girls.
Beautiful day. That was Christmas Eve day, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It's the handsome Zane again.
We had just been married, and we got there. Remember, we got there a bit late on our own because the kids had stayed with family.
Oh,
remember?
that's right. That's right.
So.
But that was probably my favorite day because there were so many of us.
Yeah.
So much family there. There's Sam. Pull your pants up. Frickin' show off. I'm glad he couldn't dive to save his life.
You're nasty.
These guys were the worst divers. These guys did more belly flops. I was actually afraid for their safety.
I know.
This is poor Jack.
And they kept going and going and going.
It's not going to end well for a lot of these guys. It just, I think Sam was the worst one. Monty, move over, Jake. Sam's replaced you. So it was a great shot. Remember, this is Christmas Eve. There's Sam.
I love it. Monty says, move over, Jake. Sam has replaced you.
That's Travis, Sam's son. It was one of the sunsets that we went to on Cays Beach. Beautiful, beautiful sunsets. I really like this shot because the guy...
I do too.
I think those are two examples of shots that I'm going to use in the class of how to use different elements. Either the empty beach or the guy walking on the beach.
Yeah.
Which one is your favorite? Neither of them are better than the other.
No.
They're just different pictures that give you a different sense of the place. For some bizarre reason, the girls got a bunny rabbit for Christmas. And two bunny rabbits for Christmas. One, unfortunately, named Stu, which I think is a cruel name for a rabbit. Christmas Day, we had to go to Redhead Beach just because I married a redhead. So the kid in the tricycle, that was Nash on his... that's not a tricycle. That's a motorcycle. That's a little mini motorcycle with training wheels. Had to take the selfie on this Redhead Beach, which was an okay beach. It wasn't great.
It wasn't. It's not my favorite beach.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely...
I'm sure everyone's looking at the beach going, "It's a beautiful beach," but it's not my favorite beach.
Yeah, it's funny how you suddenly get picky.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, but it ain't Caves. It ain't Caves.
It's not, or Mooney or Ghosties.
Yeah, it's nice enough. But the boys had fun exploring the rock formations, climbing up on the rock formations. So I think it's my favorite shot of the two of them is this one.
That's a good one.
This is when you went wandering off into the woods.
Getting lost.
A path here somewhere. Yeah, I ain't going with you. You find it on your own. There's a path. Come back and tell us. This is, I think, another one of my favorite shots of you, and a great shot of Rory. I really like this shot of Rory.
Started to come into his own while he was there.
That's a coal seam that we saw on, was it Redhead Beach again?
That was at Glenrock Lagoon.
This is a hole in the ground that she stuck her finger into.
Yeah.
You don't know what was in there?
Oh, just a big crab. Jeez. Big old crab.
Yeah, there was an actual real-life coal seam exposed to the world.
Yeah.
That you could wander around and look at. It was really cool.
It was cool.
If you ever want small children to love you, bring bubbles. Bring a way to make bubbles, and the kids will just adore you. I suddenly became the most favorite person in the world because I brought this big bubble maker.
You liked them before. They liked you before that.
Yeah, true. Some of the cute girls even get in on the bubble blowing stuff. It was fun.
It was.
Although the children, oddly enough, wanted to eat them.
Yes, they did.
You know they're not going to taste like chocolate, right?
Right.
Why are you eating them? Have you seen your mother ever wash your mouth up with soap? That's what it's going to taste like, kids.
That was a great night.
Little Nashy being very excited about the bubbles until one popped in his face. And I was like, I don't like bubbles anymore. I don't think bubbles suck.
I'm going to go sit on the rabbit now.
One of my favorite shots of
Look
Koa.
at that.
And the twins were very intense in making their bubbles. Very determined to make them.
There's that eating thing.
They were eating them. Yeah, they were eating them. I don't understand why these children needed to eat bubbles.
Odd. Yeah, so the next time you said you would do the bubbles with a different background.
Yes.
To focus more on the...
Rory got his first motorcycle ride with Uncle James. It was so cool. He had so much fun. This is me with the twins, Lainey and Miley, or Miley and Lainey, depending on which order you want to go. I don't know. And then we did selfies with them. Because they're very competitive with each other, so I had to do it. And then this one day, there was all these Australians on our private beach. I don't know what the hell happened. It's me on the train home. Coming home was just, good Lord, home was awful. It was a 9-hour flight from Sydney to Hong Kong, and then a 10-hour layover. Just literally sitting around Hong Kong airport with my thumb up my ass. You should see the walking path I had. I was literally, I literally wandering around the, let me just put this away. Literally the app I was using to track things just showed me literally meandering around the Hong Kong airport. I would walk down a hallway till it ended, and I turn around, come back, and walk down another hallway till it ended. 7.2 kilometers. I'm just wandering around. Just bored. I don't know where to go. I'll go down to the end of this terminal. I'll go down to that terminal. And I literally covered every square inch that I was allowed to go to.
Yeah.
Because it was
again and again and again.
Over and over and over again. It was so bad. And part of the problem was it because I have such a lousy sense of direction. Yeah, Monty says 10 hours is enough for a small excursion. Yes, if you're not an idiot.
No.
So you guys know me. You know I'm an idiot. And I guarantee you, if I had left that airport, first of all, I don't know if I would have been allowed because my bags were still checked through. So I don't know if you're allowed to leave the airport.
And leave your bags.
And leave your bags behind. So I don't know about that. But even if I was allowed, I was terrified because I'm an idiot of getting on some method of transportation and ending up in Kowloon or Shanghai, or Macau or some other place whose language I don't speak and I cannot find my way home from.
Yes.
Of getting lost and just not being able to get back to the airport. I was terrified of that because there was no way I could have missed that flight and gone, I'll just buy another ticket. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't do it. I had to be on that flight. Mm-hmm. If I'd been with somebody, I might have taken the risk because then, shared pain kind of thing. But by myself, plus I'm carrying this giant backpack around with all the camera gear in it. That was heavy. So I don't know. I definitely would have loved, I would never go to Hong Kong to go to Hong Kong. But I would have loved to go into Hong Kong and take pictures. Because I've seen a lot of pictures of it, and it's a really weird city, but visually very interesting.
Oh.
But I didn't want to take the chance of missing a flight or getting lost, as I do in English-speaking countries. So that's primarily Chinese-speaking. Yeah, no fun.
Monty's
no fun
funny. Monty's.
What do you say?
He says, "Oh, good point. You're you. You'd still be there."
Exactly. Everyone keeps forgetting that I'm still me. All right? It's easy to say, "Oh yeah, 10 hours. Go on." And I met a girl at the Koala Bear breakfast who was American and going to be in Vancouver in a couple of weeks, and she said she had 8 hours to kill in Vancouver. What should I do? So I gave her all this advice because in Vancouver, it's relatively easy. There's a SkyTrain. There's a train that goes from the airport to downtown Vancouver.
Oh, it's easy.
And so you can just wander around downtown Vancouver, jump on that same train, go back out to the airport. So it's like a one train thing.
But it probably is in Hong Kong too.
But it's not. It's in Hong Kongese. It's in Chinese. I don't know if it was in English. I don't know. And even then, I can still get lost.
Okay.
Because I'm a doofus.
Okay.
By the way, so are you.
I am not.
You got us lost as many times as I would have gotten us lost.
No.
You lie.
No.
Hey, Melissa, you know where this is? Yeah, I do. I think it's up that street. Oh, it's down this street. And she made me drive.
One time.
She made me drive.
Made him drive.
She made me drive on the wrong side of the road with all the gears and sticks and buttons and stuff on the wrong side of the road.
So every time we turn a corner, we'd turn the windshield wipers on.
It wasn't we. It was me. I was so incredibly annoying. It's like, because I'm just tense. I'm focused on, okay, stay to the left. And so I'm on the wrong side. So visually, I'm on the wrong side of the car. And I'm worried about, I've got my new wife here and new stepson and his best friend. So I don't want to get into an accident in this foreign country because that's just going to be a nightmare. And she says, turn left. So I go with the perfectly reasonable response, taking my left hand, flipping down, and windshield wipers. Come on, man.
Well,
and because I'm in the middle of the turn, I then flip the left signals, but the windshield wipers are still going on. I go around the corner, the windshield wipers on. Bright sunny day, windshield wipers on.
And what would you say? What would you say to everybody that was looking at you?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Canadian. So I waved to everyone. Sorry, Canadian.
So let's see. You lost the wedding rings.
Oh, God.
Left your camera in Brad's van. What else?
Left my sunglasses in Hong Kong.
Left your sunglasses in Hong Kong.
Forgot my laptop charger in Vancouver.
Right.
Broke my laptop. My laptop is busted. It's got a busted screen. It's unusable.
Yeah.
Nearly drowned. Was nearly electrocuted. Got bit to death at Black Butt Reserve. Mosquito bites all over the place. What else? I think it was it for me.
That's pretty good.
No foodborne ailments. The food was good. We had a blast going to the local grocery store. Coles.
That was too fun.
As we said earlier, we didn't buy any beer at all because it was too freaking expensive.
We just got given beer by
$22 for a 6-pack. And so when someone offered me a beer, I was so grateful to them.
Well, when someone wanted one of your cigarettes, you would be like, that's $2, please.
$25 a pack for a cigarette.
So if you go to Australia, you don't drink and smoke. It's a very healthy lifestyle.
The cost of living is very, very high in Australia in certain aspects. But the minimum wage, as we found out, is almost $19 an hour.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But that's not all gravy. You're going to pay a lot more.
Relatively speaking.
What else? What other adventures do we have? I hate cockatoos now. Fucking hate cockatoos.
No, you don't.
I really do. I said earlier, one of the reasons why it was so wonderful to be there was like walking through an open air zoo. We're walking down in the Darling Harbour area, and there's a big park where people are just sitting having lunch. And there's these really freaky, weird birds, these long legs and fat little white bodies, and this huge, bizarre hook nose that I'd seen before, but didn't really, but it was like an animal I'd never seen before. And I said, Melissa, what's that? I'm thinking this bird has escaped from the zoo. She said, it's an ibis. What's an ibis? She said, I don't know. And I took a picture of this weird animal, posted on Twitter, and all these friends went, dude, those are just bin chickens.
No, but they're still beautiful.
They're apparently just like pigeons down there. I mean, with the same respect we have for pigeons. The seagulls are very, very tiny.
Yes.
There's There's no marine life to speak of. We didn't see, although I did my best. I wish I had my camera with me at that moment. My best visual image was a fairly large wave with 4 fish in the middle of the wation.
Oh, yeah, you didn't get
It
that.
was really
Yeah.
cool. I didn't have the camera with me. I brought the, wrapping that up, I didn't bring the Nikon D600. I brought the Olympus M1 with the lens selection and the iPhone 10. I think for the first week I shot exclusively with the iPhone 10. I was really surprised the quality of the pictures I got with the iPhone 10. Really, really surprised. Just raw out of the camera with good lighting, granted. It took some very, very good pictures. And then with the Olympus M1, I had a few issues because I wasn't used to the lenses and I wasn't used to the focusing system on the M1. But as you saw with the pictures we just showed, a lot of those, probably half of them at least, were shot with the M1. I got some good shots. I didn't get as many good shots. In my head, I didn't get as many good shots as I would have if I brought the D600 because I'm just that much more familiar with the D600. Most of the shots I missed because of focus. Because the M1 is a different way of focusing that I'm not used to than the D600. And even you missed a couple of shots. I loaned not loaned, but when Melissa wanted to take some pictures and I gave the camera to her, you took a couple of shots that didn't come out because you weren't focused in the right spot.
No, I wasn't.
So the M1's a good camera. I still prefer the D600 just because I'm so much more familiar with that camera than I was with the Monty. D600 muscle memory, exactly. Oh, cockroaches. Oh, my God. I think the funniest line was we were talking about the cockroach. And the cockroaches are decent-sized cockroaches. I mean, they were good. They were outdoors. The first night, I go outside to have a cigarette, turn the light on, and it's just scurry. There was like 15 of them, literally. Yeah. And you could see them off in the edge of the shadow, just scurrying around. Well, the first time we had one in the house, Melissa and I both freaked out.
Oh.
I do not want a cockroach in the house at all. So I have to hunt these things down and kill them. We're always like, don't kill them, to pick them up. I'm not picking up a cockroach, dude.
Oh, no.
All things deserve to live. No, they really don't.
No.
They really don't.
No.
I know you're 12, but you don't understand. I'm killing this cockroach. So there's one night, and this, folks, you got to stick to the end of the story because this story will be funny. Keep your eye on this side of the screen. So one night, we're going to bed, and I kept trying to get Melissa to keep the door closed. She wants the door open for fresh air. Door open, cockroaches in. Okay? That seemed pretty bloody obvious to me. So, door open, sure enough, there's a cockroach on the floor. She freaks the hell out. Just freaks the hell out. So I'm like, calm down, don't move, you'll scare it off. Once he runs under something, it's a lot harder to get at. So I grabbed one of my shoes, and it twitched, and she shit herself.
Oh, my God.
Just screamed, blah! Jumped up on the bed like a girl with the mouse cartoon. You know, the girl in the mouse is, jumping up, calm down. So now the thing's underneath the bed. Right? Okay, you, Melissa, outside. Get out, and I'll close the door, and I pick the bed up, and I shake the bed, and the little bastard snuck up over top of the
Oh, my
bed
God.
and looked at me a little. No. Bam!
They're just
Dead
awful.
cockroach. 2 nights later, I'm downstairs. She's in the shower. Opens the bathroom door. There's a cockroach in the door. Oh, fuck. Okay, come. So just close the door. Melissa, close the door. She closes the door. Cockroach in the door. I go get a shoe. Whack. Missed him. Shit. And he runs over, and now he's he's in the boys' bedroom. And I'm making this noise, mostly cursing. I have to turn the light on. And the boy's like, what? What's going on? It's a cockroach. Just shut up. Don't kill it. Shut up, Rory. Just shut up. So, another whack. Missed him. Shit. Now he runs into the bedroom. And he runs in behind the dresser. God damn it. So now I get to pick this dresser up and move it away. The problem is, like a lot of places, the dresser mirror isn't attached to the dresser. So I've got to move the mirror and the dresser both very gently At the same time, and there's the cockroach. I see you, you little bastard. I see you. And I move the dresser, I gotta move it far enough that I can get a swing at him. And I move it. In front. But I got him. He's lying upside down. He's twitching like, you prick, I'll get you. I go into the bathroom to get some toilet paper. I come out. He's gone. And at this point, I just gave up and told Melissa I killed it.
You didn't even know where it was. It could have crawled over us in the middle of the night.
I spent the rest
What happened to my sister-in-law, Kath, could have happened to me.
I spent the rest of the night just thinking if that thing comes out of the
river,
she's going to kill me.
Oh, with the cockatoos and a half-dead cockroach. Poor Shawn.
I literally went back to with the toilet paper and went, oh, you little bastard.
Thank you.
I looked around for him for a while and thought, just don't tell her. Tell her you can.
Now all is revealed.
I went in the bathroom. I flushed and went, he's dead.
And you were my hero. I was like, thank you, sweetheart. I said, thank you so much.
I couldn't admit that to you in this moment.
Never trust you again.
I wouldn't either. I don't blame you. And then the other thing was the sand. The sand while you're on the beach was beautiful. It was warm. It was talcum powder. I've never felt sand this.
I think even you could have walked on that sand with no shoes on.
Probably, yeah. But it was so soft and talcum powdery and wonderful until you left the beach and it could end up fucking everything.
Every orifice of one's body.
Oh my God. Everything I've owned has been, everything in my body has been sandblasted.
Yeah.
You're walking up the beach going, that's not a good feeling. I don't like that. Because at one point, I was trying to get shots of the waves coming in. Yeah. So I sat at the where the water and the sand met. Oh. And I'm trying to get down low to get some shots, but forgot as the wave hits you and goes behind you, it pulls sand and the sand goes down your shorts.
Yeah.
And so when you get up, sand in your shorts.
It's just all through everything.
It just grinds away. It's like suddenly I'm wearing sandpaper underwear. It was just fucking awful. And then because we've got two young boys, there's sandpaper and sand everywhere in the house.
Oh.
I swear to God, that house weighs 100 pounds more than when we got there.
And the car, too. The car, too.
Filled with sand. Was so kind to loan us a car.
Yeah.
And just filthyized it.
I know.
It was disgusting. Monty, there are places sand just shouldn't be. Exactly.
That's so true.
Exactly. But overall, it was an amazing 3 weeks. It's something I would do again in a heartbeat. And you want to say it?
Well, we might.
Melissa and I are thinking about moving to Australia.
Just for a year to start with.
She says just for a year. You really miss family.
Very much.
And I understand now why. Because that family of yours is wonderful.
You just hang out with my family.
But family is just important in general. I've always wanted to have that big family thing.
Yeah.
Never had it. I've had a big family. They're all nuts. And they don't get along and they fight and they argue and it's just ugly. But this family, now there's tension. I'm sure there is. I didn't feel it. And it wasn't anything serious.
No.
But you could tell that this was just a warm, fun, engaging, loving bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the country itself, those beaches. The idea of being able to live in a place where I can go to the beach every day and just hang out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like when I was riding motorcycle, I'd go for riding motorcycle. Be the same thing there. I could go to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just literally bob in the water, just float. I would never learn to surf. I'd love to go scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef, but just bobbing in the ocean was enough for me. And I could do that for hours and hours and hours on end. But the idea of moving to a place where you'd be so much happier, because I can do what I do anywhere in the world. I've proven that. I can do this show. I can do my photography. I can do what I do anywhere else in the world. And I'd want to do what's best for you and for your life. And I know how much you miss that group of people. And so I really wouldn't have a problem moving to Australia. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be a great adventure. And even if it is, in fact, only for a year, even better. Be a year in a beautiful country.
Yes.
We'd have to make sure we did it at the end of the summer and then leave before the next summer. It was 47 degrees in Sydney the other day. That's nuts.
Yeah.
It was literally the hottest place on the planet.
Yeah. Wow.
Here in my country, we had 3 places in Canada, Winnipeg, Churchill, Manitoba, and some other place whose name I've forgotten, that were literally colder than Mars. That's where I live. That's my country, okay? I prefer hers. Because at least when it's that hot, I can get in the water. When it's that cold, you're just screwed. It was minus 37 in Winnipeg at some point. And people often go, is that Celsius or Fahrenheit? It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, when it gets to the point that it doesn't matter.
I mean, literally at minus 40, it's the same both ways, but it doesn't matter. After minus 20, it doesn't matter when it's Fahrenheit or Celsius.
No.
It's a moot point. It's fucking cold.
Yeah.
But yeah, if Sherry, minus 40 in Ontario last week.
Oh my God. Oh, that's just awful.
Monty says, I'm envious. I don't know what it's like to have a family that doesn't make me stabby. That's exactly it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That I've always loved the idea of family and always wanted that family. And so if that was something you wanted to do, I'd be happy to do it.
Yeah. It's a big
And you've
gap.
been looking, haven't you?
Oh, yes. No, there's lots of jobs.
Yeah.
Lots of jobs.
It's going to be hard to do a job interview. One of the things I told Melissa, it'd be easier if you just picked up and went there. Because doing a job interview while you're there, I think you're more likely to get the job than if you're here trying to do it via Skype or something else like that.
I'm surprised, as nerdy as you are, that you would say that.
Well, I'm looking at it from the point of view of the person doing the hiring. If you're physically there, I can hire you and you're here at work on Monday morning.
Yeah.
If you're here and I hire you, it's still another month.
That's true.
Before you can start working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it depends on the urgency of the job.
And the person that they want.
Exactly. Yeah. It depends on the qualifications. You are more than qualified for every job that you've applied for. But I think if the competition comes down between 2 people who are equally qualified, they're going to pick the one that they can get to work on Monday.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, you're right. I just have to think about being that impulsive.
Yes. It would be impulsive, but
yeah.
We shall see. I don't think I'd stop doing this. I don't think we'd stop doing this.
No.
I think it'd be even more fun. It'd be kind of weird doing it on Thursday afternoons, though.
Yeah. I guess it would be. That's right.
That was
the day after.
That was a really weird thing to do on Twitter. And I had to declare Twitter bankruptcy several times. But when I was reading Twitter and people were saying, for us it was Christmas Eve, and people were talking about it being December 23rd, it's mentally really hard to I can wrap my mind around the fact that Monty's 3 hours ahead of us. It's hard to wrap my mind around the fact that Jillian and Zane and the twins
are tomorrow.
It's
exactly.
It's like literally the next day. It's not a couple hours away. It's the next day. It's sunny there and it's Thursday afternoon. They're coming home from school. So just
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, folks, thanks very much for joining us. If you have any questions about the show, about any of the photos we do, I'm still trying to figure out a way to get these photos up so that everyone can look at it. I might just post that video. Let me know. And my apologies to you folks who I said we were going to do updates for, but because of the broken computer, because of the lack of a power cable, because of the issues I was having with technology, we just couldn't. We didn't even have Wi-Fi for the first week and a half we were there because Melissa's brother, Brad, who kindly loaned us his house, didn't even have Wi-Fi. He had just moved in to the place the week before, so he didn't even have Wi-Fi. So we were on cell data for the entire time. So that went to hell in the handbasket very, very quickly. So my apologies for not being able to update you folks as I promised. But we'll see what we can do about getting these pictures up so you guys can look at them. And we'll talk more about our trip on next week's show. Folks, as always, I want to say thanks very much to a good friend, Jim Dalrymple, The Loop, at loopinsight.com for joining me here on this Wednesday evening. As always, I want to say thanks to you guys for joining us here on the show, whether you tuned in live or via the archive. As always, I've been Shawn King.
I'm Melissa King. Good night, all.
And you've been listening to Your Mac Life. See ya!